Do you remember the day you were born?
Yeah, it was a big celebration.
Yeah. Best birthday of my life.
You were born at home.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until the guys were talking about it. Because on the birth certificate, it said 2111 India Street. And Dr. Winters, I guess he was the guy that walked around Stagnaro. He was the doctor. They called him up. I guess he drives down home and delivered me. But I think they had my grandmother, somebody in those days, you know.
Yeah, someone
It
with
looked
you.
like an old covered wagon days.
So you were born in Little Italy.
Yeah.
You were raised there?
Yeah, till I was about 10, then we moved up to State Street,
Okay.
further up above the airport.
How many siblings do you have? You had Aunt Lillian, right?
Lillian and Elsie, that's
And
all.
Elsie,
Yeah.
right.
Just the two sisters and me, the baby.
Yeah.
I was baby.
How much older?
I was the king, really.
Yeah. What was the age difference on that?
Well, Lillian, I think, was about 8 years older than I was.
Okay.
Because I slept with her in the living room till we moved out of there. And Elsie had there was a little bedroom in the back and those sheds. She slept there. So and Elsie was,
6 years? They were 2 years apart?
I think Elsie was 2 or 3 years. Because I remember being in grammar school. I remember being in Washington school, in the traffic patrol, you know?
Yeah.
And she drove by in the back of the bus from San Diego High.
Oh, is that right?
And she'd wave to me. You know?
Oh.
But so that was about 1940,
Wow.
close to 40.
Yeah.
So so if I was 10 or 12 and she was about 15, it's about
How's that
3
different?
years,
Wow.
3 years difference.
So you all three were just born here, raised here, lived here your whole life.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
point of Ocean Beach.
never went too far anyway. Now this kid, they got the little carts with batteries in it. They drive up here, they drive around it, drive them. Then they got these little scooters. They got all skateboards. We didn't have that. What the guys would do, we'd have a 2x4, and the guy would only if you had a pair of skates that were worn out.
Yeah,
And I mean, when they're worn out,
yeah.
you take pull them apart, and you nail one end there, and you nail the other one to the back of the thing, and you lay a skateboard. Then we put a board up. And then, but yeah, that's how I broke my arm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that
I
right?
had, yeah. I was 12 or 13 years old, and I was on the sidewalk down on Columbus Street. There was a ridge. I was going to jump, and I didn't jump high enough, you know. Hit and fell down, and I broke my arm.
Yeah.
But the kids use all those things. And then they went ball bearings. You know, there used to be gas stations all over, you know, gas stations. And there's all regular gas stations, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have ball bearings, you know, for the wheels. They're about this big around. Then they have a smaller hole.
Yeah.
And the guys, I never did, but a couple of guys a year older, because I was embarrassed to go ask them. They get the ball bearings and get a 2x4 or a piece of wood, and they cut it and they stick it through the ball bearing, then put a nail in so it wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And then they put it in put a big nail or drill a hole with the bolt. Like that, and they'd put their feet, and they could steer it.
Oh.
Then they'd have one back there solid. Well, then they started getting fancy. They started making them, they put a little hood, you know, like a
Like a shield.
Then they'd put a nail, a rope here, and they'd stick it into a hole that they'd cut, and wrap it around the broom handle, put a nail in it. Then they put it down there so that when you turn, the wheel would go like that. Then they go down the streets that way.
Right.
Yeah. And they used the ball bearings. They didn't use those great big,
Wheels.
200 holler wheels I used at what do you call it, soapbox derbies, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
those draft fights.
Yeah.
The sparks would be flying.
Yeah.
But that's what they did.
Yeah.
But the kids were thinking.
Yeah.
Now the kids, they sit in there because you know, their kid built these things, you know, their father's a civil engineer, an aeronautical engineer,
Yeah.
and they think they've got everything fiberglass. But anyway, that's how, but the trouble is, the kids, they don't think that way, but technologically they're smarter because they're learning about wind resistance and the equipment that they're using, all electronics, where they were a
Right.
bunch of numbskulls, they didn't know about that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But it comes along.
Yeah, it's
But,
good when kids
but
can-
you have to think, you know, when you don't have something, you start thinking about it.
Mm,
And that's what progresses you.
right.
You
When
sit
you have
there-
a need, you take care of the need.
Yeah,
That's
but
Steve's
that's
mother
what the whole thing is.
Yeah.
And the guys that go ahead, well, I wanna try this, you know, well, I wanna try this.
And then, okay, when Pearl Harbor happened, it was a Sunday, like afternoon, you were at the theater downtown?
I I remember that, the Spreckles Theater, watching a movie. And then they stopped the movie and then the guy come on, which had never heard that, you know, in the movie.
Yeah.
It says, all military personnel return to their stations immediately. Now hear this, just like that, you know. Put on, Spreckles was right there off of Broadway, right by the port.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, you know, get a boom, boom, bing, they would get them, then moved out. And I was 10 years old, you know, I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I went home, they said they bombed Pearl Harbor, that was another world.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, then we finally got wised out where it was. So then everybody started, from then on, listening to the radio, you know, find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but we had right next door, you don't remember, barracks.
Yeah, I remember it was an empty lot, so
Well,
not many.
Was an army
Next
barracks
door to this house?
No,
Next door to
the house on State Street.
on
Okay.
State Street.
Yeah.
Well, originally, it was down, they had the barracks down, the hill,
Down further down the hill.
further down, because they had, I think, one or two anti-aircraft guns on the embankment up there. And for some reason, they moved the barracks down there, up right next to our house. Was like a house that, next door, it was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a house, an apartment, like a two-story apartment here, there was an empty lot, and then our house. So they just put the barracks right in there.
Was it like
Right.
a Quonset hut type of thing?
No,
or a tent or?
No, it was a wooden, you know, real, just a long thing with bunks sitting in it. Then it had the back, had steps go down, and had a shower and a bathroom out down below it.
How many people were there?
I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe 18, you know, because they'd have different shifts on the.
Did they man the guns?
Man the guns, yeah.
Was the gun right there next to the barracks?
No, it was across the street on the embankment,
Okay.
you know, and they, we never messed around too much with that, I don't know. But the guys are friendly, we played catch with some of those guys, you
Yeah.
know. There's a lot of young guys, but when it first started, when the war, you know, I think the very next day, just south of us, on the block, they put a machine gun, a guy with a 50 caliber machine gun, put sacks around him.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, man, and the kids were all excited, so we went over to see him, and he said, hey, you guys, could you give me a cup of coffee? Because I guess I was starving, you know, they drop guys off and then they forget about them. You know?
3 days, whatever happened to Charlie?
So I went home and I told my mother, so I got a big pot of coffee, brought it to him. You know? And so, but then the trucks would come and feed them. They'd chow a big aluminum thing, they'd slap it down, and they'd take off, and then they'd come back, and I don't know about, I can't remember how they worked with bathrooms, I don't know. Can't remember. But it was a lot of empty lots around those days, and they just put it right on the corner. You know, kind of high, I guess you could see, but I don't know what it was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as long as we're talking about the war, down the street on not Kettner, I think India and Olive, way down there, they had barrage balloons. You
Oh,
have you ever
steel
seen
cables?
those with the cable?
See that in a
Yeah.
book- in a book.
For the
You
planes.
see that over in England a lot. They
Yeah.
have, where they'd send up the balloon, they'd bring a cable up, way up there.
Yeah.
Because at the airport, they had them all around. Because at the airport, they didn't want the planes, I'm assuming, dropping bombs on the factory down there. That's where they were,
Right?
the airport, And that's where they had a few Army planes down there at the time. Of course, right away they started building aircraft, but that was a big B-24 aircraft plant down there. Lily and my sisters both worked there.
And that's when they built that bridge. Well, there was no freeway there, but
No.
they built a bridge to get down the hill.
Well, yeah, steps, they put steps down there. The people walk, in those days you either walk or took a bus.
Right.
And they worked, they had the swing shift from 4 in the afternoon till midnight.
Wow.
They'd walk from my house all the way down to the factory, with the 24.
Yeah, we're still.
And then at night, they both walked up there and no problems.
Yeah, they never mentioned that.
No,
Never ever.
they did it for, I don't know, 3-4 years, as long as the war went on.
Did you ever see any action? Like
No.
planes hitting
No.
the cables or?
If they did,
Guns.
if they did, I didn't know about it, but we were, one time had the Joe Henning, he was a little older, he lived down the street, he was always, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So they said, we're gonna have an air raid warden meeting, airway warden meeting down, I think on Kettner Boulevard, 2 blocks down from our house.
Yeah.
No, it was about 12 then, And he said, you want to go? Yeah, I think Conrad went, 2, 3 of us. We went down there and we sat in there and they were showing pictures of bombing in England and they were, we're going to do this. Now, they want everybody to have a bucket of sand and a shovel because when they drop incendiaries,
Oh, yeah.
water doesn't put that out.
Right.
You have to put sand on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See? And that was, of course, one bucket of sand. but anyway,
Some mental comfort.
that was the thing. And then they wanted messengers, That way, when they had the air raid, they'd run here and there. And so, afterward, I told my mother, I said, I want to become a messenger. She says, no sirree. When she said, no sirree, that was it. I didn't bring it up more. Sometimes you know, I don't think so, but different. But no sirree.
There's all this stuff.
That was it.
Oh, God.
But for the part about not too smart.
Yeah.
I thought, well, God, I could run,
Yeah, they're dropping bombs.
Oh,
I'll be
yeah.
fine. I'll just see it and I'll run away.
I don't know.
Oh.
Because that was her label,
I thought she
No,
shut
sir.
you down.
No, but I said, I want to go back. No, sirree. No more argument. I'm done with it. I mean, you can move the house and everything, but never been no sirree.
Yeah.
Every time I think of that, I have to laugh.
What did Grandpa do during the war? Was he fishing or?
Yeah, he
at
was
the fish
fishing.
market?
He was fishing, and they would go. They'd have to when they came in. They had a radio. I forget how the radio used to be sealed. They couldn't use it while they were in. When they came in, they would seal the radio.
Oh, because of the war going on?
Yeah, and then after they went out, they could open it.
So many miles out?
Yeah, so when they were coming in, they would call somebody, customs or something, and they had a submarine net. They opened up and let them come in.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Wow.
yeah. And so,
Like out here in the bay?
yeah, right there,
submarine net?
Ballast Point, by Ballast Point.
Oh.
They'd open it up and then he'd come in and they'd close it, and you couldn't get in unless you called in and
Right.
Wow. How many days, how long did he be out?
Well, those days he had the small boat, and
Right.
they did good. He did. When he built the boat in I think it was 35 or 38,
That was the Venetian?
Venetian, they paid it off in 1 year.
Wow.
But it was only $21,000 to build a boat,
Oh,
with
that's
an
a lot of-
engine and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's more than a house would cost back then, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, a house. I don't know. The house that I lived in on State Street, that was $7,000. They built that.
$7,000?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a, mansion, no, to me it was a mansion.
Yeah,
but-
it was a great
Was
house.
your other house, was that a one bedroom?
Which one?
The one on India Street, was that a one bedroom,
No,
two
it
bedroom?
was two, no, those little
Yeah.
cottages?
Yeah,
No, they had 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a dining room, believe it or not, a kitchen, and, well, the living room, but the rooms, man,
we've seen how big the whole house is over
Yeah.
there. They're
yeah, well,
18 feet by 18 feet.
and if I remember right, I think they had the water heater was in the bedroom, in the bathroom. The bathroom was right here, the little, bathroom is about as big as
Like an airplane bathroom?
no, as a bathtub, you know how long
Yeah.
the bathtub
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
And then there was a little thing that, I think where the water heater stood on, so that was that. So that was the whole, the length, but it had 3 doors. You know, can you imagine?
3 doors for that tiny room?
It had 3 doors.
It's got
One
more
door
doors than
was
walls.
to the one bedroom,
Yeah,
and the other door was to the other bedroom where Elsie was. Then they had a 3rd door to the living room, not to the dining room.
oh.
So you're sitting at a chair like this, and the door was right behind you, open up, this close to the bathroom. But I mean,
Well, that's when they first started having indoor plumbing.
yeah,
That's the first step.
that's about it. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So then the bedrooms, like my parents had if I remember, had not a twin bed, a regular,
Full bed?
full bed, but not a.
Not a queen.
No, smaller, but the regular. What do you call a regular
It's a
bed?
full or a twin, I'm not sure which it is.
Well, whatever, just a regular bed, and it was about this far from one wall, it was about that far from the other wall, and it had a dresser, and you walk right by the dresser and that was the big.
No closet. No
Yeah, they had to go to the closet, no, they had to come, but their closets were about like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course, people don't have many clothes.
Yeah, that's it, but.
So your father was a fisherman your whole life? Is that how you became a fisherman?
Oh, yeah. Well, when he was younger, he ran I think the Great Western Fish Market. But
He was like the manager of it.
yeah.
And so like with sports fishing boats or just other boats? that
No,
bring
well,
the
they
fish?
didn't have sport fishing and all that. They all the little boats would go out and bring in halibut and sea bass and rock cod, and they'd sell them. They'd send them up to Los Angeles, or they'd sell them to the hotels or restaurants.
So they would pack him in ice?
Yeah, they had big wooden crate. In those days, they had
Wood.
wooden boxes about like that. That when they shipped them, they packed them in ice.
How did they go by train to LA?
I think most of that stuff was by train. Yeah.
Get there before the metal sites.
So yeah, right.
Ice melt.
He owned the market before he became a fisherman?
He didn't own it. He ran it.
He
managed
okay.
it.
Who owned it?
Well, there's some guys. A guy named Fratney, I think. Guys that were ahead of me. I don't remember. But he did that. But he also, I guess, in San Francisco he did some fishing up there with his father, I think. And then I think they had another little boat that I didn't know about, a real small one, that he and his brother used to go out with. And so, but then when he worked in the market, then he borrowed some money from my grandfather, my mother's father, to build Girolamo, to build a Venetian. So he paid that. He paid off in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And that's how you got into fishing? You kind of fished with him for a while?
me?
Yeah.
Well, I got into fishing. I was pretty old. I was already
2, 3?
25. I think pretty close to.
I was
20.
born.
You
You were 25 when I was born.
So you didn't
well, I was working in a gas company when you were born, digging ditches.
Tell me how you met Grandma. And like,
Well,
fall in love and get married.
I was just getting out of high school, right? Just started going into college, I was in junior college, and that summer I was working in a cannery because my father was working, he knew that Glenn Copeland, the guy that managed the cannery, and I about to get a job. He said, you want to work down there? I said, yeah. I said, I'll talk to Glenn Copeland. So I said, go down there and see this Glenn Copeland, you know. So I went down there. Okay, give me a job. So, but it was, you know, I don't know, $50. I think it was 50 cents an hour or something.
Yeah.
You know, those days.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Day.
during the summer, the boats would come in, and I'd most of the time I'd be on the boat pulling they had a crane,
Oh yeah.
crane that
Pulleys.
with the
offloading.
yeah, I'd pull they'd be on the dock, and they'd have to pull it to the boat. Then they'd put the bucket in the well.
Right.
Then another guy would pull it back over, and they would dump it. And
yeah.
that's,
Okay.
so that's what I did for, I don't know, days. It was just boring, you know. Just there, and then sometimes I worked picking livers inside when they gut the fish. I'd pick livers, and they give me big.
So what do you do with the livers? Fertilizer or?
But the livers they were using for vitamins.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That the fish heads and all the other stuff is for fertilizer.
Okay.
So they made money. Nothing was wasted on that fish.
Yeah.
Nothing was wasted. But anyway, we worked there during the summer, you know. And then one day there's no boats coming. Nothing. You guys, okay? No, we don't have any. So tomorrow we're not working. So I went up to University Heights playground because I knew one of the guys used to play ball with, Dick Savoy. So I'll go see him. So I drove
He was
up there.
working there.
Huh?
He was working there.
Yeah, he was.
And you had been to there over the years just for different things.
Yeah, well, he like a playground director, you know, watch umpire games.
Yeah.
Get the kids to do this, do that. So I was talking. Then he introduced me to your mother, Jean. He says, how was it? He said, I'm going to ask her out. He told me, he said, I'm going to ask her out. And I started thinking, this guy had a girlfriend. No, he had her name was Mary Beth Young. It was a pretty girl. And
Yeah.
and he was going with her all the time. This was the next day I went up there to see him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there, and I'm sitting there and looking around, and your mother's there, and she waved and waved. I go check it out.
Yeah.
So I asked her out.
Yeah.
Then went to go see Grandma Corander. So I says, do you want me to drive you home? She said, well, I don't get off till, I don't know, 3:30 or 2:30 or something. I said, well, yeah, I can do that. I said, I'll wait. That's okay. So I took her home. She says, I asked her to go out and to go to a show. Well, I have to ask my mother. She was 19 years old then.
Yeah.
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 I said, well, you know, that's all right. So, pretty soon, I was sitting in the couch like this, you know. Then pretty soon, Grandma Corander comes in there. You know what she did? And started talking. But then jumped up. How do you know? How do you do? And all that kind of stuff. Then she went and I said, well, yeah. She said I could go. Then later on, they said because I had a white T-shirt on.
Yeah.
She said she never saw it so white because my mother used to bleach everything. You know what I mean?
Well, he must be clean.
Everything.
He must be clean.
And she said, boy, she thought that was a good deal.
Okay.
So she
Remember, she only can see out of one eye.
when she put that eye on it, man, you knew it. But anyway, that was it. That was the beginning. So then I started taking her out, you know. Then she had her sisters, you know, which was pretty good. Then John O'Brien, my brother-in-law, was taking another sister out, and he was my age. He was in the Marine Corps, though. The difference between me and him is I was always working, going to school. At the time, I was going to school, and he was down at the MCRD. I don't know what he was doing down there, but I think I went to.
I know he played football.
Yeah. Well, he played, kept talking about North Dakota State. I think he played a little bit for North Dakota
Oh, okay,
State.
he's from North Dakota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, then we used to go out together a lot, you know. Not a lot, but quite a bit.
Yeah. My dad was telling me, you take other girls out, they'd be like, oh, I just want a Coke. But if the grandma, she was like, give me a hamburger.
I know. I'd take her out, you know, I'd figure, well, you know, we'll get a Coke, we'll sit at the drive-in theater. We went to drive-in theaters,
Right.
then, you know. Not theater, but the drive-ins for a Coke. And, you know. you know, I tried to be, I said, you want a Coke? Yeah. I said, you want anything else? I said, yeah. I said, she liked grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh.
She wanted grilled cheese. Which one grilled cheese? I don't know grilled cheese. You know, you want a hamburger? You know, what did they feeder right up?
Genovese, cheap.
Yeah, well, she was always hungry, you know.
Yeah. They're always thinking, oh, Andy's gonna take her out later. Don't give her anything.
Yeah.
He can feed her.
That's part of these things, you know, at the time, Coke was 10, 15, or 20 cents.
Yeah.
And a hamburger was 35, 40 cents. And
Yeah.
grilled cheese sandwich out of 70 cents, you know. When you're cheap, you're cheap.
What do you say that Grandpa Crander knew about you because of baseball?
Well, yeah, I forgot. How was it? Oh, they. Of course, he wasn't working. See, when I took her out,
Right.
I didn't. I went to pick her up. I went to pick her up, you know, and her father was sitting on the newspaper, you know, there.
He never said anything. He never
Put
said
your
anything.
grinder out and like, okay, bye bye. Like, you know, get out of there. And then Gene told me, he says, after I left, he says, well, I know him. He was in the paper. He was an Andy Stagnaro pitcher. Because, you know, and those are sports section, and,
Yeah.
you know, there was nothing going on.
Right.
Just had the Padres, and then a little bit, and they probably had a picture. He said, yeah, I know. So that was an in right there.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he played baseball when he was.
Oh, yeah.
When he was in high school.
He was pretty
Grandpa
good. Supposed to have been pretty good.
Yeah, he
His-
played in high
her
school. He
father.
was a baseball guy.
Yeah.
And my mom had 3 sisters, and so my mom was like the son. He would play catch with her in softball.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah,
others, I
sure,
think,
yeah.
were into sports. But so she would play catch with softball. Then she played ping pong. She was very proud.
Yeah.
Tell her about the ping pong.
Oh,
board.
she was the athlete.
Oh,
The
yeah.
other sisters really they were nothing, you know.
Right.
Really.
And so the father, he was a player. So one time he had a ping pong table in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So we were, you know, we were all there playing. Then your mother, I would say your mother, but we started playing ping pong. She beat me, you know. I was 21-20, 21-20, whatever it is. You know, I never got beat by a girl.
Yeah, I know.
Girl, I walked out like a little kid. I walked in the house and sat on the couch. No, I'm thinking about it. Kill me. The person, she comes and laughs at it. What's the matter? She says, I beat John and Brian 11-0. You know, because Nacho, John the same way.
Yeah.
We're trying to kill it, and she just goes boom, boom. We beat ourselves.
I did this same thing when I was dating Teresa. We were down at Mission Bay. We had a basketball. And we were playing horse, and I'm like goofing off, trying to shots. I can't make it. She's making one underneath, and then I missed it, and I kept picking up. I ended up losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing.
You know what happened? What it was, we beat ourselves. We did,
Yeah.
no, we smashed it out. But she just, and she always held up. I don't know, she had a goofy way. I went, pop, hey, just hit him back. You know, just get him over the net.
You hit the net.
Yeah, that was doing, you know, but that was what it was. But I felt better after that. Well, because John was a macho. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we were on every time we played, everything was a contest. When I played cards, man, he.
Tell about the paddle thing.
I'll tell you if I still have it. You know, with the rubber band on the board, bing, bing, bing.
Oh, yeah, like a paddle and ball. Like
Yeah,
bounce the
yeah.
ball back
Yeah,
and forth,
he had one every time I was playing. Yeah, I got 45. Yeah, 40.
yeah.
Then after he called me up, then I got 150. Okay, yeah. We were getting up to like 2,000, 3,000.
I remember you
Oh my
wrote the
I
number.
wrote because I
thought it was
wouldn't forget it. So he called up once, said he had, I got mad, so I boom, 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 boom. And I beat him 2,000, 2,300, and I wrote it on a paddle.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get that. I never got it, but we played cards the same way. You get mad if you didn't win. Horseshoes, man. We played horseshoes, and we went to picnic. Your mother beat me, and I was getting back because Grandma Coranda, her father, was watching, you know.
Yeah.
She'd throw it, it would just roll. Like this, I'd hit the pole, it would drop, and I had the big flip, you know, and it bounced.
Yeah.
You know, and she just rolled it, and the house started yelling. I said, throw the thing. I said, don't roll it. And he was laughing because she couldn't throw it that far. It hit and it's just rolled. And she got, I don't know, she beat me once. The old man really liked that.
So how long were you guys together before you got married?
Almost 3 years, you know. I think I was 19, and then we got married at 22.
Right.
Yeah.
You got engaged on Christmas Eve.
That's right. Yeah. I was nervous, you know. I went up there, and then I you know, not romantic, you know. You want to get married? Cause we were talking, you know.
Yeah.
You want to get married? I said, yeah. But wait a minute, she said, you have to ask my parents. So they were next door to the Moores. Remember Mr. Moore?
Yeah.
The guy that did all that cement work out there?
Yeah.
So Jean runs over there, and she says, Andy wants to talk to you. And then she said, Mrs. Moore says, oh, Paulie!
My grandmother.
They come over, I said,
Grandpa came over.
oh yeah, Grandma and Grandpa,
Yeah.
they both came over. Then who was home? Mimi.
Yes.
Mimi
Was already dating John.
Was already
his older
dating.
sister.
They were going together with the Marine. She was going with, she's a year older than, about a year and a half
Yeah.
older than my wife, Jean. And she was there, and she started crying because, and I told her, Jean, what's she crying for? Oh, because she wanted to get engaged first.
Yeah.
Well, she ought to be happy. Baloney.
Yeah. But between the time that you got engaged and you got married,
Yeah.
she got married first.
She got first one, and then Emil and Patsy got married.
Before you got married.
Yeah, we
Right.
not one of the last ones.
Right. In fact, they got married, I think, in November of '51. The November before you got married, and I think it may have been the exact same weekend that Teresa's parents got married,
Oh, really?
because it was November of '51.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And everyone got married on Saturdays in those days, right?
yeah, I think that's that you brought that up. They were saying the Caranders, she married 3 daughters off in 1 year.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, productive year.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big car. Oh boy, get rid of those kids. But they were, then Mary and Dick, they got married later.
Yeah, because they were so much younger. They were
Yeah.
5 or 6 years younger.
There was something else about that. At the wedding, they said, you know, my wife's parents didn't drink. You know, they didn't drink. But when we had the reception, my father said, you know, all our relatives drink. You know, it told, we'll pay. I don't pay for half the reception or pay for something. But we got, yeah, well, that's all right, you know. And who got drunk was all my Jean's in-laws. They were all drunk. They had a real good time. Then Gorman, John O'Brien's mother's husband, that wasn't John O'Brien's father.
Right.
Because this Gorman was a bartender who played the piano.
Mm-hmm.
They said when after we left on a honeymoon, they had everybody was drinking up there. It was in the Carpenters Union on Carpenters Union Hall up there on Park Boulevard. So he started playing the piano, big rinky tink said, man, everybody started drinking, dancing, a heck of a time.
You were just watching everybody else get drunk.
I didn't left by that time.
I said, Jean told me, said, my mother told me all her relatives, she was embarrassed, all her relatives were drunk. But anyway, that was that story.
What year did you get married?
52.
52.
July 52.
52. And we bought this house in 53. A year later, and people ask me, how long have I been? I've been 68 years or something, isn't it? How much is that? 68 or 69 or 67?
Well, it's 2 years older than me, and I'm going to be 66.
68.
So it'll be 68.
Yeah, 68.
Yeah.
68.
So that,
Wow.
you know,
That's good bones.
that's a long time. Yeah, I didn't realize it, you know, but a lot of people don't get a house until they're 30 years old or 40.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we bought the house from my cousin Anthony Brigani, And
Well, he was a realtor.
yeah, he was a realtor. He worked in the bank first, right out of college. I think right out of college, he went to Santa Clara. Up there, graduated from Santa Clara, and we started looking for a house. And he was actually a cousin, and so I knew him, and I didn't. I don't know. My father said, "Hey, we'll buy the house, and you pay us. You know, make the payment." I said, "Well, it's all right." So he started taking us around. We looked around and kept looking at this house, and the house was only about a year or two old when we bought it. And it was nice. I wanted, I don't know what I was looking for. You know? Then we looked at a house down on Bernice, and I liked the house, but the house, I said, I didn't like living down in a down, you know. Then he said, well, he says, this is the best deal I got. I said, okay. So I went for it. And so my father bought it. We paid him. It wasn't much though. You know, every month was
$50 or something.
yeah, it was $50
I know, but
or
it's
$100.
1953.
Right.
Yeah, it was $18,500.
Wow.
And so we just paid. You know, then sometimes we'd have an extra $50. We'd pay it. You know.
Right.
So then when it came after 15, 20 years, we had about $2,000-3,000 left. He just told us that forget it, you know. So okay, well. So but you know, it's been a gold mine, you know.
Right.
Investment.
Yeah.
Wise.
Yeah.
Well,
What did the house look like? Because you built this room right here afterwards, right?
Well,
Did you-
right there where the clock is, that from that clock it just came out,
That was the,
right?
because that was in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the big bedroom.
Radio
That
room?
big bedroom.
Yep. And it came over here.
No, it came to about where you are.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then went up and over.
well,
Did
over
you have
here
stairs there?
it was a
Yeah.
dining room.
Yeah, the dining room, and a door that went out to those stairs.
No, yeah, there was a door that went out there, and then there was a door that went into the kitchen.
Yeah.
That was the kitchen.
The
The
bathroom.
kitchen was over there, wasn't here?
No, the kitchen was back there where that bedroom is.
Yeah.
That was the kitchen
Right.
originally. And I noticed most of these houses, the kitchen was always, they always put the kitchen for some reason towards the street. That one over there, their kitchen is out by, facing the street. This house.
Oh, yeah. But was there a kitchen behind their garage though too?
Huh?
Was there a kitchen behind their garage next door?
This house?
Yeah.
No, all they did added that story and this part of where that roof had come,
Oh, right.
that was part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, added was a big bedroom.
Yeah.
Dr. Cannon,
Yeah.
he added onto it because he was having some Japanese friends because he's a Cal Western University.
He was a Napoleon on the Nazarene.
Oh, okay.
He was a vice president.
Yeah, it was a big deal over
Yeah.
there. He was having Japanese come and stay with them for some sort. He built a bathroom extra. But see, you're not supposed to go off story.
Oh, because the airspace? Because the airport?
And he come and asked me. He says,
Oh.
we're thinking about building. He said, would you rather us to go out or go up? And I said, man, if it goes out, I'm not going to see nothing. But
Right.
I said, go up.
Yeah, 'cause you can't, that isn't walking.
But
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that because on the deed or whatever,
Yeah.
no two-story houses.
Right.
There's no other two-story house.
It's like Laurel
Just walk.
Street parking.
Yeah,
That parking garage right there?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Spots,
Yeah.
over there, and he was in the city working. And he said, well, he must have he told me how he did it. He says, because that's the only way.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think it was legal, but because he contracted it himself, because I think he built part of it himself. Contracted himself, he could do whatever he wants, or whatever. But anyway,
Wow.
good thing, because if he would have gone out, that would have killed us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like us, we killed it for that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they got bambooed, they're not gonna,
Yeah, they blocked it themselves.
And this was put on in '69, they bought it there 6 years ago, so it's been
Oh,
there
yeah.
40 years.
Right.
This kid, see, he's doing something back there illegal. I think he's building I heard them just today. It's I don't know if it's one of those guns, boom, boom,
Oh.
air guns. I see a bunch of building back there.
Oh.
See, originally what they put there was a big container, one of those big steel containers with a big crane.
Yeah.
That he had, it's been there for as long as he has, 6 or 7 years. And he had, I see the guys walk in, and I don't know, and I see him come out with hoses. A painter, I think he went and he painted or sandblasted it some way, and cut part of it out, and now he's building onto it with wood. So I think it's, I know it's.
Is it living space or is it an outdoor?
If he gives me any trouble,
Yeah.
I'll squeal on him. But I'd like to see her cut that
Yeah.
bush down.
That bush.
I
One
have
there.
somebody on the black market, the middle of the night, just.
I got some friends, Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep telling everybody to drive those copper nails in that thing.
Right.
That's what Jimmy always said.
But she's a lawyer, her husband's a lawyer. The husband left her, took up with some girl in the office,
Yeah.
and she's, she doesn't talk to me much.
Yeah.
She waves, but I think that's one of the reasons I might afraid one of these days, because she came here, when she was first, started, when her first dumped her,
Yeah.
and I was talking about that. Well, we can she cut the bottom of it, then you could look.
Yeah.
Well, that's you
Cut
can.
the bottom 8 feet.
Yeah.
That'd be true.
Yeah. Cut the trunk out.
Yeah.
And let the whole tree fall over.
But she had the gardener. She 6, 7 years ago cut it, and that was it. And the rest of it's been doing whatever they want.
Yeah. So you guys got married, bought the house.
Yeah.
You started having kids like right away, basically.
Right. That's why we bought the house, because Jean was pregnant with Cecilia, and so first thing I did, I was in that bedroom. We did, in those days we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
So we would paint it blue. We would paint it pink. We didn't know, so paint it yellow. So we painted it.
Really?
Do you remember that?
I don't remember the color.
Then we put wallpaper up and everything. So that was it.
Right.
And then the next year, then Stephen came, and I guess both of you guys were back there. I don't know.
Probably initially.
And then was after that Lucy. Then you got bumped to over here. But I remember, and there was Lucy. There was Lucy. Came in from fishing. I think I told you that. Come in for fishing, and I don't think I was fishing there when she was born, I think.
I think you were. I think you were with her. And
So I came in the car, and your mother said, "You want to hold her?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Better watch out, she got the flu." Big stud.
Yeah.
2 days later, I said, "Call the doctor, I think I'm dying." He said, "You're not dying, all you got is the flu, I can't move."
Oh, really?
Man, I was the sickest I've ever been in my life.
I have to tell her that. I never heard that story. I have to tell her this.
I didn't even have the strength to roll over,
Wow.
When I told her, I said, I'm dying. "You're not dying, you got the flu." So, anyway.
Mom was very sympathetic.
Yeah. So survived that, then finally I was fishing again, and Janet, the guy, was in the galley eating lunch, and Butch, remember, John? "Hey, your wife had a baby girl." Okay. That's it. I mean, that's how life was then.
Yeah.
What now? But yes, and letter, your flowers, and your big.
Yeah.
Hey, your wife. They called and said your wife has a baby girl. Just had a baby girl. That was it.
Did I tell you what I did when I found out? Did I tell you?
No.
I included it on the paper in grade school somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Because it had a kitchen in here, Mom has a baby, and I think it said Elsie. And Lily may have been both here. And so I was standing over somewhere and I was eating a sucker, I had a sucker. And they go, "Oh, Stephen, good news, your mom had a baby girl." And I wanted a brother.
Oh.
So I got the sucker, and I was right there in front of the kitchen. rude on the ground, slid across the ground. Went to my bedroom and cried. And then he comes back. She washed it. Oh, Steve, don't you wash your socks? I don't want anything.
What I want is a baby brother.
Let me tell you about your father. I'll tell you something. I don't know how old you were, about 10. You know, we got a lot of quirks, you know. You got a lot of quirks. You got to have them too.
Yeah.
We got a lot of quirks. We went to to Las Vegas. One of the free things, you know, we got the hotel was free.
Yeah, you guys went to Las Vegas.
I
think it was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, well, and then we had Gene's sister and Mary and Dick was going to watch your kids.
Oh, really?
Because we were only there for 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big deal. And so Gene gave them instruction, you know, put them to bed at a certain time, this and that, okay. So we come back, you know, Dick said, I had to spank Stephen. I said, well, Stephen, like a piece of butter. Hey, you wouldn't mind, you wouldn't go to bed, okay. So after the leave, I went and said, did the Uncle Dick have to spank me? He said, yeah, but I didn't cry. I said, you know what it was all about?
No.
You wouldn't go to bed unless you had 5 crackers. You had to have 5.
No, I believe it.
Ritz crackers, then he'd go to sleep.
Yeah.
I think he gave you 2 or 3, but you wanted 5. You know. So I think I had a lot.
I believe it.
I had to spank him. Then I asked her, Bob, did you get a spank? Yes, but I didn't cry.
Right.
There's a lot of quirks. You had to have 5 of them. It was 3, and he gave you 2, but he didn't give you the full amount because he wanted to show you.
Yeah.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
I used to, and I think I told you, he had a bed next to the bed that had a dresser, had a lamp on it, and had a lampshade, had a cowboy lampshade. And when I went to bed, the lampshade just had to be just right, and the closet had to be completely closed. And
Then he had on a shelf all those.
Oh yeah.
All those
plastic models.
Plastic models that you
Well, the
paint.
monsters.
Monsters, Wolfman,
Yeah.
Mummy,
Dracula.
this and that, and they had them all.
The Dracula.
All lined up.
Oh yeah, they're this big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
So we had a lot of quirks in this family, so if you
Yeah.
got a little something going on, you know where it came
Yeah.
from.
Don't worry about
Well,
it.
do you remember when I was a kid, I was sleeping on the bottom bunk, I guess I was under Daniel or before Daniel or something, and for some reason I thought that my bed was going to turn into a spaceship, was going to fly away, and I thought, I don't want to leave, I want to have toys when I'm flying away. So it's like the middle of the night, I go to the the closet, and I pick up a bucket of toys, put on the bed, and I look, I'm like, well, there's more toys. So I took every toy out of the closet, put it on my bed was like full of toys. And then I realized I can't sleep now. I have a toy in my bed, so like I knocked on your door and I was like, can you guys help me take the toys out of my bed? So at what point did you start fishing then?
Well, that's when we started getting too many kids, and I was working. I worked at a gas company. I was making 200 every 2 weeks. How was it? I'd get $200, I think. And then, except for at the end of the month, I'd get $210, $10 more than the one before.
Even out the days.
So I said, you know. So I told my father. That's when my father got the South Seas. They bought the South Seas, but they didn't take possession of it yet.
That's a ship?
Yeah. So that's when I told my father I wanted to go fishing. He was happy.
Yeah.
Oh, right away, he says, you'll even save money. He said that way when you go fishing, you don't spend money. You know, you're out there.
Yeah, well, you don't have to spend it.
Oh yeah.
So and that was 1955, I think.
Yeah.
1955, and I stayed with them for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. Then my father would tell me, he says, you know, the other boat, Marco, we're on Olympia, he's looking for a paper captain, you know, for a navigator. Mm-hmm. And out in the South Seas, they didn't do very much, you know, they were just ordinary, you know. So I went with Marco, and they gave me a share and a quarter, being because I had the papers, and I made money there.
Right.
That guy was good. So,
Charge.
I know.
oh, Lucy said, staying cool in 115-degree heat.
115 degrees. Oh, we're gonna be there in 2
That's
days.
what, I know, that's what Susan said, we're gonna get up early and we're gonna go right past the heat.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went with Marco, we did real good, them. But then the seiners come with the nets, we were just a pole fishing. And by the way, we got 115 tons fishing with the poles, albacore up off the Columbia River. That was people that even Big John would say, "Were you on the boat?" And I said, "Yeah, I was on the boat then." It was 90 miles west of the Columbia River, 115 tons catching with poles, and that's a lot of fish.
And it was rare to go north, because typically you went
We
south.
were down in Mexico, and things were slow, and he says, they're doing good in albacore up off
How
Oregon.
many days did it take to go to
I
Mexico?
can't remember, but it took, we were down there, and I thought, well, we're going, San Diego, we were already out for about a week or two.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd come in and,
Yeah.
get fuel. Went up there, it took about, I don't know, 2 days to get up there, and it took 2 or 3 days or 4 days from down there. Well, one time we were in Galapagos with the South Seas.
Yeah.
Took us 11 days from Galapagos to San Diego at 7 knots, almost 6 knots weather. Man.
Oh.
But anyway, we went up there and we did real good. We loaded up, unloaded up there, and went out, got another load, came down and,
Oh, wow.
and went there and unloaded it at San Pedro, then came to San Diego, and we got everything. And then I don't know if we were back up there again, but that was a good year. But then after the seiners were coming, everybody was going tuna seining with the nets, because they were catching them and doing real good. So then at Cookie Verissimo, some guy told me that he needed a navigator, so I said, I'll go on a purse seiner, try a purse seiner. So I went with him, and he was like the South Seas, just.
Oh.
And so while I was with
It's on
him,
the historic.
huh?
That was on the historic.
What did I say?
No, he said Olympia, the first one, then
Yeah.
historic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Olympia, and then I went on the historic, and it was just a seiner, but it was, just for mid-long, not long trip, well, long trip, 40, 50 days, 60 days,
Oh gosh, 2 months.
Yeah, that was routine. Then, then, one time, John Silvera, I was in the Coast Guard with, he called me up, he says, hey, he says, I'm building a boat, a brand new boat, I want to navigate, you want to come? Yeah. So I went, boat was still being built, we went up to Tacoma, Washington, and we brought the boat down, and I fished with him for 12, 15 years.
Sarah Marie.
And we did pretty good,
Yeah.
It wasn't the best, but we made a lot more money than I,
Yeah,
Make
it
the
was
dime.
consistent.
yeah, so we did that real good. Then, one time, after, I don't know, about almost 30 years of fishing, your mother told me, hey, kids are graduating high school, I don't know, you graduated college, the third grade college, you haven't been around to see any of that stuff, you better start thinking of retiring. That's all she had to say. Because Julie had told me, Julie Salesi.
Yeah.
He says, hey, he says, if you ever quit, he says, you can work for me at the fuel dock. I said, okay, I remember. So right away, hey, I'm gonna quit, do you need a minute? Yeah, so I worked at the fuel dock down there for about 10 years. He didn't pay too much either. You go work for the Genoveses,
So you had insurance and you were here.
Well, that was it. I think that's something I was making $15 an hour, and I was running the place, running up and down, and sometimes I'd work on 4th of July, sometimes on Sundays because the boat, they needed fuel, and I'd go down there every morning, be down there like 6:30 in the morning, didn't have to be there until 7 or something,
Yeah.
and I'd open up, get ready, it worked late. I'd take my inventory at the end of the month, bring it home and do it instead of down there. Gil, who ran it before
Oh,
me.
yeah, right, Gil, I remember Gil.
He's a sly guy, but he put some money in the fire, but he did a thing, and I told him, well, you don't take it home? I'm not taking it home. They don't pay me to take that thing home. So, while I was fueling the boats, he used to go back over the papers, you know, because the Chevron would say, oh, hey, well, you reported 300 gallons of this. You only had 220 gallons, you know. Then you had to go find out where the other gallons went to.
Yeah.
And you spend 2-3 weeks doing that every day. Well, I was out there fueling the boats, you know. But I do it at home, and then I never felt good until everything balanced out. One time, I was about 1,200 gallons short of diesel. That's just driving me crazy. You know, Gil, let it run. You know, forget about it. You know. And it's driving me crazy. I told your mother it was that night. I said, I gotta go down. Come on. So went down there and I started checking the tanks again with the flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
Then thank God they had these big, they call them sticks, you know, and they're calibrated every 1,000 gallons or every 5 gallons. Well, the sticks are square, and on one side was like 1,200 gallons, and the other side was like 1,000. And at one side you use, and one side, so I got the wrong one. Thank God, man. It looked like the world came to, you know. But, you know, Gil, he wouldn't have, because every, once a year, the auditors would come, and they'd check, and if you had too much fuel, they kept it for Chevron. But if you owed some, they charged Julie for it. See, and I didn't want, you know, I didn't want to. I said, whatever. I told the guy, I said, I don't care what you do. I said, but I don't want to be charged and boss, you know, my mistake.
Yeah.
But it never came out that way. But Gil, he was making some money on the side. I think he took a trip. Yeah. I didn't know about it. I'll tell you the story. One time, guy come in for, it's a lot of small boats, a lot of yachts, you know, they take 200 gallons, 250 gallons of diesel and sometimes gasoline or oil and stuff. And so we fueled up this boat, and so I went in the office with them, and he goes, hey Andy, we're gonna wipe the top of those drums down. We're down on. I said, okay. And I told myself, what do you want? Wipe the top of the drum with oil, you know? Yeah. We never did that. I said, okay. So I'm down there and I'm thinking, that makes sense, you know? It bothered me, you know? It made me feel bad, like, you know, get the hell out of here, you know? Yeah. Well, not too smart. When he went on vacation, see? He went on vacation, so I would start doing some oddity. So I started checking, because when you fuel a boat, we had a little thing, we put how much, what the name of the boat, the time, the date, and how much fuel, you know? So I went there, I saw the fuel, then I went and look for the invoices, and I couldn't find an invoice for that fuel, because I found them for every single one of them for that. That's that one while wiping the thing, like 250 gallons, you know. So what the world going to? I started thinking, then it dawned on me. He had some other invoices, that old invoices that they never used. Well, he wrote this guy on this invoice and gave it to him. The guy paid him, and he put it in his pocket, and that because when they bring in like 15, 8 or 10 trucks loads of fuel, and especially in the summer, it's hot. You gain a lot of fuel because it expands. Yeah. Sometimes you gain 1,000, 2,000 gallons. You know, so he had a surplus of fuel, so it didn't show up on it.
Right.
Every time you stuck the tanks for inventory, you took the temperature. And then it told you.
You calculated it out.
He calculated, see. Yeah. But he had this surplus, and he was putting all the money. Not only that, but then I said he would tell you, poor guy's dead, and I'm digging on him. But a lot of boats would bring fuel, lube oil. They'll say, hey, I got this lube oil, I got to get rid of. You know, the guy said, okay. we'd have a lot of empty drums on the dock from pumping. We'd pump all this lube oil in. Okay, we'll take care of it. Well, he'd call this Aztec Oil. They'd come down, pump it, then he'd give them like 20 cents a gallon, and he'd make $100, $190.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I
Everything on the
he
side.
was putting it in his pocket, but I didn't see any of it. I didn't want any of it. I didn't say.
You tell Julie this guy's robbing you?
After he left, you
Yeah.
know, I told him, I said, hey, you know, oh yeah, I know, but he didn't know.
Just trying to save face.
Yeah.
Then Julie, the Coke, they used to had a Coke machine out
Yeah.
there, you know, Coca-Cola. Julie said, I came here one time and just when I ready to close, I said, oh, Gil, he had his truck, he was putting cases of Coke in his truck. I said, I knew my Coke. And then he took it out, and I said, at the office, I said, why'd you take the Coke machine out? He said, we're losing money on it.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
You know, there's so much of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
So
hey, Gil knew his stuff though, you know, he was a real hustler, man. Sometimes he'd go down and bring a boat, because he had papers too, because he'd go pick a boat, they'd, well, we can't bring it down because the skipper, well, he'd drive down and he'd bring the boat to fuel it up, you know, he was a real hustler.
yeah.
But you had to watch him with two eyes though, you know.
Was there a story about a long time ago? His boat went somewhere south in the wrong ocean waters, and the crew was seized by the
Well, we were
government down
seized at
there.
Ecuador.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but then like somebody escaped at night and like ran to the boat, and they were shooting at him, and he had to like get back to the boat to save his boat, to save his life.
No, the only thing I knew about, because they took us in,
Mm,
you know, we were fishing off of Ecuador,
mm.
then they're not like Navy, you know, they come up with a boat, you know, I mean, might be an old minesweeper, you know, that the government gave them.
That the United States sold to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they'd have a bunch of these young guys with rifles, so they put them on a boat and follow home. Okay, all right. So the young guy would come up with his rifle, and then the guys would get from the boat. Look at the rifle, this and that. There's no bullets in it.
Yeah.
So they took us in.
The Barney
Then
Fife.
we'd be there for a day or two. Then they got the government would pay the fine.
Right, because they were disputing the United States and Ecuador as to what territorial limits were.
Yeah,
Right.
like I think it was, I don't know, 100 miles or 200 miles. The United States wouldn't recognize 100 miles, but it would recognize 200.
Mm.
And we were out, to the United States, we were out legally,
Mm.
but they took us in, so the United States just paid it, and then they let us go.
Right.
But then there was said that one guy was talking about when they saw one coming and said they took the boat and started running. They were shooting at them. They said,
Right.
you know.
Oh,
But they,
Tell me that story.
huh?
So not another
Who
boat.
that?
I don't know.
Oh, no, you heard about another
Yeah,
boat.
I heard about it. It
Yeah.
wasn't us, you know.
You weren't getting shot.
No. We were taking
Yeah.
a chance. Fortunately, some of them they took off. But you know, they're a long distance, and some of these boats fishing boats were probably at the same speed, if not faster, than that old minesweeper that the
Right.
Ecuadorians had.
Right.
They'd have shooting and they got away, but the trouble is, they knew the name of the boat, so when they come by, they was always in trouble.
Oh yeah.
So, it wasn't too many problems, but there were the ports down there, like Guatemala. All the guys like to go down to Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, people were friendly down there.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they weren't too friendly. The Navy and stuff.
Right.
I guess they resented the United States.
Well, Costa Rica is a real popular vacation spot nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot of people are moving down there.
The guys would say, hey, in Costa Rica, if you're in a bar and you get drunk and pass out, you have your wallet on the table, you come back, it's still there.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there's other places that steal
Not so
your
much.
teeth, yeah.
You learned Morse code, right?
What?
So you learned Morse code, so you could communicate with grandma.
Well, yeah, when I was a ham operator, I
Okay.
learned that, you know, that regressing.
Yeah.
During the war, they were, my father had bought some, these flags, those little flags that see the Navy.
Yeah.
I know they bought some of those, but they didn't know what they're for.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
And
to look
then they
official.
wanted him to learn Morse code. He said they can only speak English. Morse code. But I took it up, and I became a ham operator, and then I used to talk home almost every day. And then, well, your mother, I shouldn't tell you this because I know you. I said, what? She went to go to night school to become a amateur ham. She learned like 4 words a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I said, why don't you? Because I know you're going to keep making me do it till I get my other license. That way, I wanted her to get her general license, and I could talk to her on my phone,
Right.
just like you're talking on a
Yeah,
telephone.
because if you get the license, then you can talk by phone,
Well, you talk on the radio,
right?
and I had the radio over
Right.
there. But
Right.
see, what I'm talking about, you remember, you lived down the street, Crane, Bob
Yes,
Crane?
yeah.
He was a ham operator, nice guy, he committed suicide, but.
I'll show you the house. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And then there was Bernie Burns and Chula Vista. So I got to know those guys, and they said, "Well, call us." He says, "We'll make a schedule early. Most of the time, early in the morning. You know, San Diego time about 8 o'clock or 7:30 San Diego time. Get on the air and call us, and we'll run you a patch." So I used to get on the air while we were looking for fish and talk. Bernie, are you there? You know, for WX, well, I forget what it's called at its work.
The XBR, BRR, W.
Mine was WB6BRR.
Yeah.
And W6BIG was Bernie.
Okay.
And then King 6 Charlie Mike was the
Crane.
Crane. He what's his name down, Bernie down there in Chula Vista. And he says, "You want to talk to Jean?" I said, "Yeah." So call your wife. And she'd pick up the phone and we'd talk.
Was it, so she would, they would call from the radio to the phone?
I would call to Bernie,
Yeah.
to his radio.
Right.
And then from his radio, he'd have a patch.
Right.
From the radio to the phone.
Okay.
So he dialed her number and she answered.
Oh.
And so it went right directly into the phone.
Yeah.
And, but what your mother didn't understand, Bernie could hear every word we
Oh,
said,
yeah.
you know. She thought that
That was a straight telephone call.
like an operator, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when you're-
Well, because before that, when he would call, and sometimes we'd call from him from the maritime operator,
Yeah,
and he would call, and we would talk, and you had to say over.
Yeah.
So they would flip
Switch
the,
you
so
over.
they'd flip
yeah,
the switch.
yeah, so, because otherwise you'd be talking at the same time and nobody hears anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only goes one way.
So that you have to learn to say over and over. But Bernie, he'd be listening, you know, and stuff. But you couldn't talk business on there because that's a commercial, amateur.
commercial
yeah.
use.
Right.
You can't say, "Yeah, buy me some stock," or "I sold a house, you know,
Yeah.
for $1,000."
Like business,
you know.
said
Yeah.
2 gallons of oil.
Yeah.
So,
So was it just you talking to Grandma, or was it like the whole ship could talk to anybody here in San Diego?
well, no, I just talked to her directly, but what I would do is I keep it real short. You know, we just said hi,
Yeah.
how's everything, this and that, and then cut it short. And then I'd have one guy every day. I'd have one guy call home.
Mm.
He could call home and talk to his wife, you know, and how the kids, this and that, and all like that. But I'll go back the way it started. When we went with on the Olympia, we were going to Galapagos.
Mhm.
So we got down to Galapagos. We anchored because we were going to go for bait at night. And so the chief was a young guy, Ed Childers. He says, "You want to call home?" I said, "What do you mean call home?" He said, "I got a ham radar set." I said, "You can't." "Yeah." Because I know, I said, Mark was not going to let you call home on the radio from the ship.
Yeah.
Because you have to call the marine operator, and then the marine operator calls your house, and it says, I don't know, at the time it was expensive, you know, $3-4 a minute or whatever. And he said, "You want to?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What is it?" So I went in there, and he had a little dinky old radio about this man, about like this, and you call this guy and some other guy in Chula Vista. So we call home, and I think Cecilia answered the phone, and She told me you broke your collarbone again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Stephen broke his collarbone again, the second time, I think.
June 2nd, 1970, 10th,
Yeah.
end of 10th grade.
No, and then
That's my anniversary just the other day.
and I said, "Where's Mom?" Oh, she's at the store. I said, "Oh man, of all times to go to the store."
Oh, really?
So she talked. We said hello, goodbye, and that was it.
Mhm.
So I said, "Man," I said, and all he had was a
Radio,
vertical,
antenna.
a vertical antenna, like a little fishing pole.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's a good deal.
I started studying that stuff. You had to learn 13 words a minute. That's the hardest part.
Oh, okay.
And after you,
I remember him practicing because I was in
Mm.
high school and he'd be in here and wake up. They call you did that.
Then we go for a test at the FCC office up there and see some old man. I've been here 35 times. I don't know. I can't get
Oh.
it. He says, you go home. He says, I can do 30 words a minute.
Yeah.
But all you need to do, I think it was 15.
Yeah.
He says, I get up here, I get this, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I felt sorry for the guy because it's a mental block. 'Cause I was starting to get like that. You ever did that, then.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I passed it, and it says you want to try for advanced. Take a test. No, that's good enough. That's good enough. I got out of there.
Yeah.
Then they said if you get it, I'll buy the radio for the boat.
Oh.
So he bought the radio for the boat.
Okay,
But then I
yeah.
made one of my own for
Right,
eighth kit.
right, right.
That's what. Then your mother started learning, and that's.
Oh.
She said, I know you're gonna make me start. Are you studying? Don't bother me. Don't bother me.
So once you guys had all the stuff that you needed, was it just you talking to the house, or was it your whole ship? Each guy could talk to his family.
Each guy,
your
well,
grandma.
you talk to that one guy. You have to talk to that one guy in San Diego, and then he calls whoever you have on the line. You give him the phone number, and he calls that house.
Right.
And the guy will talk to his wife, and whatever for a few minutes. Sometimes the guy, I tell the guy, hey, cut it off.
Yeah.
Because the guys, they get tired, because they have to keep switching back and forth over.
Yeah.
And it's boring for them. So they talk about nothing.
Mm.
But every day on the boat, I would let one of the guys call home.
Mm.
Some guys didn't want to call home because
The report.
they didn't want to talk to their father, their mother,
Yeah.
If the guy's wife was married to him, he'd talk. She wanted the kids.
Mm.
So, but it turned out pretty good. There were several boats that had ham operators.
Okay.
So
The
it's
bootleg,
really good about
we
today.
call them bootleg. They were using Mexican call letter signs.
Oh, yeah.
But I did it legal. I got my own.
Right.
So what's your advice on life? At 91 years old, what's your perspective on life?
Okay,
What's the secret?
this is. I look at this and then on both sides,
Mm.
moderation. You've heard that. You hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And like I told you, all these guys that I fish with, all of them, when they were big drinkers, man, they drank, they smoked, this and that. They worked hard. Every when they come home, they had a few. They were drinking, smoking. They're all dead.
Mm.
Every one of them. The guys, Cosmo wasn't a big. I don't think he smoked. I don't know if he did or, but he didn't. And wasn't a big drinker. They drank. Everyone drank,
Yeah.
but not.
Not excessive.
And
Yeah.
Julie and John,
Moderation.
Yeah.
they're both. Neither one of them smoke. Well, usually smoke cigars, but they didn't get drunk. They drank, have one or two glasses, and they lived up there pretty good. But every single one of them, besides cancers and stuff, are going to get you.
Yeah.
I think just don't kill yourself.
Kill your body and
Yeah.
break your organs.
Just
Yeah.
some guys get overweight. Man, that guy weighed 300 pounds. John O'Brien, the football player, he kept, you know, in his mind, he kept thinking, the bigger he is, the bigger football player he's going to be. You know, well, he was over 300 pounds, you know, and he was about an inch shorter. He was 6 feet, and I was just a little bit taller. I'm more shriveled up now, but he and he kept. He'd go out and he'd run, you know, he'd jog or on a bicycle, but then he'd come home and he'd eat a pint of ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, he'd go out with the thing and then he started getting bigger, 300. I think he got to 330, 40 pounds at one time.
Wow.
Really big, and then he got sloppy, you know.
He was real
How do you
thin.
jog when you weigh that much?
Oh, that was before.
Oh, okay.
Before, yeah, he's
Okay.
because he's a highway patrol,
Mm.
motorcycle guy, and he used to come in. Maybe when the kids would come down, we'd go to the beach, he would jog along the beach. I mean,
He was,
that's
he was,
wild. Big
he was a
jogger.
pretty husky guy. He was a punter. At school, he was punting. He was a husky, you know, and but he just, I don't know. He just got goofy, and
No, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
then maybe he started. She died. Then he really got goofy, you know, and found himself one of those little scooters.
Oh yeah. That's
Uh,
a scooter thing. You can't walk that well.
yeah. His wife died, and then Kathy says, "What do you buy that for?" Well, he went and bought it on himself for $6,000, and he didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because whenever he made something, he ran with his bicycle. He ran into a car, it flipped over, and so he got some money from it. You know, because the car was coming out of a driveway or something.
yeah.
So he bought a motorhome with it.
Oh yeah.
So until they always wanted to go motorhoming, you know.
Yeah.
But they did. I went with them. That's another story. They said, why don't you just come with us? I said, okay, we'll go. We followed them with the car, and then at night we stayed with them. You know, we'd have dinner, we'd go to dinner, and it was pretty good. And we went up way up northern California, went up there by the redwoods and come down. And by that time, you know, I said, do you want to go through the redwoods, or you want to just go to the shortcut? Let's go to shortcut. I said, I told him, you seen one tree, you've seen another. That was the worst thing I should have said. After that, they said, if you had one meal, you had them all. No matter what, that's the worst thing I ever said.
Yeah.
Then we stopped at Patsy's
Okay.
on the way back. And so he parks us out in front, and Pat said, "You want to come inside?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, aren't you going to sleep?" I said, "Sleep in here?" I said, "I've been crunched up in this thing for about 2 weeks." I said, "I want to go sleep in a bed." I hurt his feelings, you know, because I was sleeping on a settee, like something like that, and I couldn't stretch out because of my head, you know.
Yeah.
So I was in the house, it hurt his feelings. Anyway, you know.
I'm interested in our Christmas tradition. We've been doing that for longer than I've been around. How did that get started?
Oh, my grandparents, man, they, you know, the days, well, I was small, I can't remember. I think the day before Christmas Eve, they would go down there and they'd make raviolis, and they had the steamer trunk. You see that?
Yeah.
Well, they had 2 or 3 of them, because my grandfather, you know, they used to, from Italy, he used to go to Italy every once in a while, you know. But they put a bed sheet on it, and they put all the raviolis that they make, and they left them there all night. Out.
Outside?
Yeah, right on top of the bed sheet.
Yeah.
On top of the trunk?
Yeah. 2 trunks. They had 2 trunks.
Yeah.
And they'd line them all up, and the next day we'd cook them at lunch. You know, Angie and Jimmy would be there. That was a big deal for me because I'd see James, you know.
Yeah, his cousin.
I had nobody to play with, really.
Yeah.
And so that was, you know, they would always have, always liked it because they had a lot of olives and drink, and always could drink a little bit of wine with the sugar in it, you know. It was a big deal. So, and then my grandparents died off, and then my parents, Lillian and my mother and Elsie, they started making them, and then, but they used to leave it out.
Leave it overnight.
Yeah.
So they'd make it Christmas Eve.
Christmas.
They wouldn't freeze them.
No,
They
no.
just leave them overnight.
No,
and on Christmas they cook them.
Christmas, they take them up, put them in a pot, boil them. Maybe the boiling killed all the bugs. I don't know.
You wonder.
Yeah, then we always, in the living room, that's the only time we ever have a big deal. They put the thing out and, everybody go there, it was a big deal. Then, we'd have it at lunch, was a big, then
Yeah.
the leftover, we come about 4 or 5 o'clock, we come back and eat what was left over.
Right.
And everybody, because one time when Gene, we weren't married yet, so my aunt Edna had a Sunday party, had everybody over, Jimmy, at her house, and so I brought Gene, and she had a big table, they had spaghetti, and then they had roast, and they had cheeses and stuff and all that. Oh man, she was eating it. Oh man, really good. It says, then you come back at 4 again? We went back again at 5 o'clock and we had another one. She couldn't believe it.
Right.
But that was routine.
You had your ravioli for lunch and then again for dinner, leftovers.
The ones that, some of them say, well, I can't, I'm going home. But
Right.
everybody picked over what was left over. So, but then, well, that was the other thing. I was fishing, and Christmas, one Christmas, I was fishing, got stuck out there because we broke down.
Yeah.
And my parents said, we're not gonna have ravioli. Andy's not here, we're not gonna have raviolis.
Yeah.
And then Gene said, I'll make them.
Oh man.
Mrs. Corander comes, she come over here, they made them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And my parents go, hey, she made them good. Yeah. From then on, that was it.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
Grandma started making them from that point on.
Yeah.
Because you got stuck out on Christmas.
Yeah, because they didn't want to make it because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I came home, I think, New Year's Day, I think.
Yeah,
Came
yeah,
home.
not too long after that.
And she said, from then on, I think we started making them. And so it wasn't that big a deal, because, Lillian, it was used to, everything was perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
They cut everything. Your mother just went into it.
Volume.
Yeah, volume, yeah. Then she refined it, and then we've been doing it, and then everybody's looking forward to it.
Well, I remember having it over there when I was 19, that's when I set my record of 66 raviolis.
They were smaller back then.
They were smaller. This one had a smaller, yeah.
Can't believe I ate the whole thing, huh?
That would be like 74.
You ate them?
No, it was 1974 is when we had them over there. So somewhere after 74 is when Mom took them over. Because you fished till like 83. So somewhere in there, Grandma took it over.
Right.
And then at some point, then when I guess,
I don't know.
so you and the girls, and I don't know if I contributed.
At what point did the green cat get started?
The what?
The green cat.
Well, it's like 20
Oh
years.
man, that was.
Because we knew it for a while, and then we was lost for like the 5 years, and then it was like
Right.
8 years before that. Oh, and Martha was still around.
Who?
And Martha was
Oh yeah,
still around.
no. That was, she had it for a while. They thought it was lost. but
Right.
She had it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, 50
20.
years, 60 years.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it was a.
Well, when did we start having contests?
Right.
Well, that's when they started. Before, at first they just gave it. Somebody won it. Then the next year it showed up. Hey, look at this! Remember who wanted this? Then it would show up 3 or 4. Then they started keeping track of it.
Yeah, that's when we had a piece of
Right.
paper.
Right.
The red writing.
I think it's still down.
Yeah.
You look at it?
I think it's down.
Is it in the other room or is it here?
No, down. No, either that one or try the next one.
Yeah, right here.
There's a paper.
But when did we start recording right away? So what's the earliest recorded date?
Yeah, but it was well before that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
1993.
Really?
Year before I was born.
93.
93. He's 27, so 28 years. And that, so probably a good 30 years. We
Yeah.
didn't start right away.
Oh, no problem.
So 30 years.
Oh, I think it was not before that.
So the raviolis, you'd say, is that about, at this point, it's probably 100 years tradition. Because if your grandparents
Oh, yeah.
before you were
Oh,
born,
oh.
You were
No
every
doubt
Christmas
about it.
till
10
now.
years old.
If you don't have gastric acidity, if you don't have nausea, if you don't have acid reflux, if you don't need Alka-Seltzer, if you don't need Tums, you haven't eaten enough. Don't leave Stagnaro's without at least one of the above. But you know,
Yeah.
that's what when they started making them, they're using beef brains. You know.
Right, yeah, tell me that part of the story.
Well, I'm going to fill in because I don't. They never talked about it because we've always had brains. Oh, get the brains, freezing brains, you know. Then now the kids start saying, "Hey, you know, brain, hey, brain, this and that," you know. But the thing is, in those days, you don't throw nothing away when you're hungry,
Yeah.
and they put it in there. But you want to finding out. I'm looking. You know how much cholesterol's in them? Thousands.
Oh, was that right?
I looked.
The flavor comes from.
That's whatever. Because I looked up. We were talking about shrimp the other night. He said, "Oh, shrimp's got a lot of the fish is worse for calories for cholesterol." He says, and then beef drinks. I looked it up, and it was I don't know 1,200 or something. And everything else was like 90 or
Oh my gosh, really?
Wow.
yeah. Well, your mother was smart. You know, when she was sick, she used to watch everything she ate,
Right.
check everything. She never talked about it.
Right.
But she got books of it. You can look it up. I'll tell you what food, how much calories each
Protein,
one, and
protein. Yeah.
protein, this and that, and broke it all down. But she's got books. So I looked it up the other day. And it was way up there.
Wow.
Fantastic. Beef brains and cow, some other pork brains, that they were all way up there.
Brains. And so, at what point did we stop putting them in the?
Well,
Been a while now.
not really long ago. 10, 15 years.
Wasn't it when you started dating Mom? She was like, "Oh, I don't like brains. Let's do 2 different sets, one with brains, one without."
We
brains.
did. We did the brainless, the smart ones and the dumb
Yeah.
ones.
And the very next year, you just did all.
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then we start putting pork in there. You know.
Oh,
But
okay.
they put that right, pork.
Pork, yeah. And a lot of people put chicken. Sometimes don't even do that. You get it now. They put cheese. You know,
Yeah,
it's
just
not the
cheese.
same.
No,
Not the same.
no. You gotta have some type of.
You don't got the goop. And
No.
No.
But that Christmas was a big deal. 1,000, more or less 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000 every year.
Yeah.
1,300 is the record that I recall. 1,000's a lot because we've had.
But you know the
26
secret
people there.
that people making it that you got to watch when I'm gone. When they start rolling the stuff out, make it thin.
Oh, I know.
You get people they get tired of rolling it,
Yeah, it'll make it.
and you got real thick and it tastes dough.
It's all doughy.
Yeah.
That's why we buy these commercial ones, you know, in cans and frozen. It's all dough.
So if you can see through it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
you
that's
see the grain,
you see the grain. That's it. That's it.
you know it's good.
The grain.
That's a secret. Don't tell anybody.
I know.
Let's list off your descendants right now.
The what?
Your kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
So who's your oldest kid? Was Aunt Cece.
Oh yeah, Cecilia. She's the oldest.
Yep.
And of course Janet's the youngest, but she doesn't have any kids.
Right.
So Cecilia's got how many grandkids? Seven grandkids.
Aunt Cece married Uncle Bob,
Bob.
and she had 3 girls.
Three
Cindy, well,
Sarah,
Sarah, and then
Cindy,
Cindy
And
Susie.
Susie.
and Susie.
Yeah. No boys.
Right.
And then
Lucy.
yeah, you had 3 boys,
Right.
no girls.
Mm.
And then Lucy had 3 girls and 1 boy.
Finally, yeah. And now, with Martha Miller's
Yeah.
baby to come next month, she's the 13th great grandchild in the first Stagnaro.
Yeah.
Finally,
Oh,
finally.
Let's get the name. We gotta get the name. We gotta drive the wedge in there. These guys, we got the skiffs and we got the Brownings, and we got the who's the other guy?
Cedars and
Cheetos.
Cheadle and.
No, I said, man, we gotta
Sea
put a
Bears.
halt to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the Cage kids, those two twins, I don't know if you watch them in.
Oh, yeah,
They're
those
cute.
videos.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
cute.
we get such a kick out of them.
Yeah.
The latest thing was they're driving the car,
Yeah.
I guess in the grocery store.
Uh.
She's cute.
They see them in the swimming pool, when they're swimming.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she takes them in, I guess, of course, according to Lucy, it's expensive to teach them to swim, you know, because they give them so much, like 15 minutes a day for several days. They don't just give them 1 hour every week.
Yeah.
That way, otherwise they forget.
Yeah.
You know, and so the kids they're right in there. They getting in
Well,
there.
they're just
I
always
told
having such a fun
them
time.
they're doing a good job. They devote their life to them.